So my name is Damilola Feyide. I'm the founder and CEO of Let It Shine Academy, which is Let It Shine Secondary School, and also Theo by Lisa. So Let It Shine Academy, it's an intervention organization that basically is focused on bridging the gap in education and providing access to free and quality education, so both formal and informal education to marginalized children and marginalized people in different communities. So we have two sides of this for Let It Shine Academy. There's the formal education side, which Let It Shine Secondary School covers, and then there's the informal education, which is the Creative Academy. So when I started about 4.5 years ago, it started with just the Creative Academy. So that's where I had different communities where the kids will come together, will bring kids together to learn things within the creative. I won't just say creative, because you have ballet, you have cooking, you have arts, you have coding, you have STEM, you have how to make hair, how to make beads, because the whole point of it was providing access to children who didn't have access to these things in the first place, and ensuring that every child had something they could do with their hands, so that through that, you won't see children on the road begging for food or without anything to do. So that's how I started the organization a couple years ago. And then a year and a half later, it then developed into a full-fledged secondary school, which is where you have Let It Shine Secondary School, which is a free secondary school that is registered under Lagos State Ministry of Education. So it runs as a normal school. The only difference is that it's completely free. They don't pay for school, they don't pay school fees, they don't pay for textbooks or uniforms or ID cards. It's all completely free because it's registered under a non-profit. And it's run as a normal school. They come in every single day, Monday to Friday, 7:45 to 4 p.m. I always say that I want them to feel like they went to Olashere, which is the secondary school that I went to. And again, the only other difference is that it's for people who are marginalized. So children and people that cannot afford private or even public school education, because unfortunately, Nigeria as well, although they don't pay school fees, they have things like PTA, that are termly fees. You have to pay for books and things like that. And there's a lot of people that cannot afford this. And more than that, I also say that it's one thing to provide free education, but the reason why I went down the route of having my own school, starting my own school, was to ensure that I was providing quality education. Because again, we can provide free education, we can pay for their free education in their school fees, all these things somewhere else. But then how do we ensure that they're getting quality education, which is another big issue that we're having in Nigeria, is not having standard education, not providing standard education to all children. So in my school, it's a mix of different people. You have people that have, single parent households, people that don't have any parents. I also partner with a few correctional centers and rehabilitation centers in Lagos State. So they send boys to us, or students to us as well. Kids that, were not in school, were not, out of school for one reason or the other. That is, I guess, a sum total of what you have. So when I first started, it was with the Creative Academy. I was doing that in different communities across Lagos. So from Mushin to Yaba to Igboefo and Lekki to I'm forgetting one other place. And then I to Oregon as well. And in the time I was doing that in other communities, I was doing a course on children's rights and childhood protection. And then that kind of took me further to understand, the what the legal system with children in contact with the law was in Nigeria. And I was introduced to the Correctional Center for Boys in Oregon. And it was because, and I went there to bring the Creative Academy to them. But it was upon my introduction to that center that I realized that, the state only provided for primary school education, not secondary school education for the boys that were in that correctional center. So I went in that, aside from me bringing this Creative Academy to them, can I bring in secondary school education to the boys that were done with primary school, so that they weren't idle, and that when they come out of this facility, they had something at least. So in doing that, I started with about 15 boys from the facility. And I had 1 or 2 days that they gave me. I found a teacher that could teach math and English, at the just one level. And I was doing that. The number of students kept on increasing. So as that was happening, the correctional facility also increased my days that I could come in. So I went from Saturday to Friday, and Saturday to Monday through to Friday. So as that was happening, I think word was spreading about the work that we were doing. And then we got a space in Yaba. Someone just donated, oh, here's this space. I hear what you're doing. I like what you're doing. have this space if this will help you in any capacity. So as that was happening, I wasn't really, I think I knew what I wanted to do, what the space was meant to be for, but I wasn't really 100% sure. So I just kind of kept it for a while, because more and more, I think the more you do this, the more your eyes are open to, when you enter this kind of work and this thing, the more your eyes are open to things that I guess it's almost like you were sleeping before you were unaware of. So, and there were a lot of things that I was now privy to understanding and seeing myself. So I remember I did an outreach with my teacher at the time and a good friend of mine. We went around the streets of Yaba. We had flyers and we were speaking to people about, do they need education? Do they need help with education? That there's a free school that might be starting in October. Because I knew that whatever it was going to, God had given me a vision that it was going to be a free secondary school for children. And I went around that day and I met so many people that had, children in different states. I actually met some children as well on that day. And I always say that it's so funny because the children that I met on the road that day, about 80% are now in my school and they are my GS3 students. So we started that day in October. We started making us about, and then in October we actually started. I started with about 30 students. So I started with just one, about 30 students, and that was in 2021. And now we have about 150 students. We have primary 6, just 1, just 2, and just 3. I have 28 students in just 3. I have 18 students in the primary 6 class. So the reason why I have the primary 6 class is because now a lot of people come to us wanting to enter. And like I said about, lack of quality education, I haven't been able to put them in just 1 because I find that they are still struggling with their backgrounds, where they're coming from and their foundation. So a lot of kids cannot even read or write or spell because they didn't get quality primary school education. So it won't be right for me to put them in just 1 off the bat. So I said, let me start a primary school, a primary 6 class that would almost rehabilitate them and, ensure that their foundation is right before they enter just 1. So we had that primary 6 class, which I call a preparatory class. Then we have about 50 something students in just 1, another 50 something students in just 2, and then 28 students in just 3. And in May, June, we're actually writing NECO. So it's the school's first time of writing NECO. So we've gone from 30 when I first started to about 150. I have a lot of students from correctional centers that are, that are in my school now. And just people seeing the journey, I always say that one of our head boy at the school currently, when I first met him, he was first at a correctional center. So just seeing that journey and how they've been able to, how they've really been able to change their lives, and we still do the creative academy on Saturday. So every Saturday, the children gather, they bring their cousins, friends, all of that. And we, teach them from arts to ballet to coding, because it's really important that they have access to these things as well. And and they can, the sky is the limit for them. So we're introducing them to these things that they otherwise wouldn't have had access to know about or to learn about as well. So I guess in a nutshell, that's